Final whistle on Love Sport Radio. Miles Blumsom and Joe Forrester with you. Big win for Tottenham Hotspur today at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, beating Manchester City 2-0. Goals from Steven Bergwijn on his Spurs debut, and then trusty, reliable Son Heung-min with the second. A deflected effort. Alexander Zinchenko sent off for Manchester City just at 0-0, which gave Spurs the upper hand. A huge win for Tottenham, moves them up into 5th place in the Premier League. For Manchester City, if they did still feel like they were going to win the league, I think the 22-point... Spurs, yeah, we're still in it, mate. The 22-point gap to Liverpool for Manchester City with 13 games to go, maybe just a little bit too much. We're joined now by Chris Cowlin, author, blogger and Spurs fan, to talk all about Tottenham with 2 Spurs fans in this year. We promise we'll try to stay as impartial as possible. But, Chris, it was pretty good, wasn't it?
Miles, Joe, good afternoon or good evening to you. It's been a fantastic day. It really has. I'm still at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The party continues, and what a fantastic result. Jose Mourinho was brought in to do exactly what he's done today, get us over that line and beat the big teams. It's the first time this season that we have beaten a top 6 side. And if we want to get in that top 4 place, these are the teams that we need to beat. And it was a great second-half performance. I
mean, the problem is with us getting a top 4 place is, yes, we've beaten the big side, but we've really struggled against the little sides, which is it's a little bit of an oxymoron, isn't it?
Well, we've got a couple of new signings in. Steven Bergwijn, I was absolutely delighted that he started. Lots of people have been talking about we've got no striker until the end of the season, very worrying. But when you've got players in the team such as Steven Bergwijn and Dele Alli, Heung-min Son, Eric Lamela and so forth, you're always going to get goals. So it was a good performance today, and that top 4 place, it must be, in our sights now, and it must be something that we do achieve, because when you have a stadium like we've got, you have the training facilities, you've got a world-class manager, and you've got world-class players here. Champions League football is what we want to have year in, year out, and when we've had it for the past 4 years, we need Champions League football here again.
And you mentioned, Chris, that's obviously what Mourinho's been brought in to do, solidify the defence. I think my criticism so far, and some Spurs fans' criticism, has been that he hasn't seemed to do that. But actually, while City obviously had a lot of chances, I felt like Spurs defended very solidly. They didn't have that many clear-cut chances, did they?
I totally agree. I think that it was a very, very good defensive performance. Obviously, Jose Mourinho's only been here for a couple of months. There's an awful lot of work to do, no getting away from that. There is a lot of work to do for Mourinho. He's had one transfer window. We've brought a couple of players in. We've let a couple of players go. Still lots of work to do, but that will continue in the summer. But if he can get us over the line and can get us in that top 4 place, and we have some good cup runs in the FA Cup and the Champions League this season, then it will be a very successful season after the very dim season, or the start of the season, that we've had.
There was question marks about some of the senior players and long-serving players' commitment to the cause, shall we say, and whether their heart was really in it, and the atmosphere that was creating behind the scenes and on the training ground and in the dressing room. I'm thinking particularly Jan Vertonghen, Christian Eriksen and Danny Rose. And with 2 out of those 3 and potentially that negative influence gone, as someone close to the club, do you think that could be a chance for Mourinho to start moulding the club in his own image with players who are maybe more on side with what he's trying to do?
Yeah, he's got to do that. As I say, it's work in progress, and he's got to get the players in and get the players motivated, and ultimately he's got to have the players here who want to be here. When you've got the likes of Christian Eriksen and Danny Rose out the door, I think that is a huge plus for Spurs. Yes, Danny Rose is only going on loan, but it was a good move, because these players, they're out of contract soon, and if they don't want to play for the club, then get them out of the club and get some fresh blood in. And it's just so refreshing when you've got a player like Steven Bergwijn, who Jose Mourinho, he gives such bold decisions, makes such bold decisions in games. I'm not at all surprised that he started the game today, and it paid off yet again. And that is what you need. You need a world-class manager to come in, change the dynamic of the team, and have players who want to play for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And that really, really did show today. Jan Vertonghen is the other one out of contract at the end of the season. He didn't feature today, he didn't start. And I think that Jose Mourinho is now starting to build a team for the future.
One player who did play and always puts everything into Tottenham games is Harry Winks, and I need you to help us settle a debate, because I think Harry Winks is fantastic. Joe doesn't like him. Joe doesn't rate him. Chris, what side of the... Are you Team Miles or Team Joe? Are you Team Harry Winks, or do you not think he's very good?
Do you know, the feeling is so mixed. The amount of Tottenham fans I speak to, it is really 50-50. You either love him or you don't think he's good enough. I think he has some excellent performances. I think he played very well today. I think Jose Mourinho will mould him into an excellent midfielder. He certainly knows the players who he wants to play. And I think he's one for the future. I really do. I can't see Harry Winks going anywhere. I think Jose Mourinho does like him. And, one for the future.
I'm taking the win on that one, Joe.
Do you know what, Chris? It was going so well. It was all going so well. But really, is Harry Winks long-term? Is Harry Winks the man to anchor that midfield? Or do you think alongside Lo Celso and Ndombele that it could be Fernandes long-term or potentially someone else coming in? I cannot see Winks being the player to drive us forward.
That's a very good question. If you're playing Champions League football year in, year out, and if you are seriously challenging for the Premier League, then I think that there are doubts whether he is good enough or not. I think this season is about getting us over that line, and by me saying that, I mean getting us Champions League football next year, not Europa League football, and no European football at all. And if we can have a good cup run, then you need to utilise people like Harry Winks. Harry Winks absolutely loves the club. You can see every single time we score a goal as a team, there is no one more passionate on the pitch than Harry Winks. He's been at the club since he was a young kid, and he really gets it, and the passion is there, and that is what we all want to see as Tottenham fans.
Another player who's been at the club since he was a kid, Japhet Tanganga, filling in at left-back at the moment. He seems to be growing in confidence and composure in every game.
Unbelievable. He was a centre-back, then he played at right-back, and now he's playing at left-back. He has got a superb attitude, only a young kid. Jose Mourinho has given him the opportunity to shine, and he's certainly doing that. And he's doing so well. Really, really pleased for him.
How do you think we will finish in the top four? I know Chelsea are struggling. I'm tempted to say, and I try to be as positive as possible, I'm tempted to say no, just because we're struggling to break down those teams that do sit back on us. We're much more suited to counter-attacking like we did today. Are you confident that we're going to get past Chelsea?
I do feel confident that we will finish in the top four, yes. I think that a lot of teams are failing to get the results that they want and require all around us. And I think if Tottenham can produce results like this against the Premier League champions, then of course, yes, we can break down the lesser teams and finish in that top four place. But I've always been very confident this season that we will finish top four. I think you have to be, as a fan, if I was leaving my house and coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium thinking that we weren't going to win, I wouldn't even bother coming. I truly believe that we were going to win today. We did. And we now have to believe, as a football club, as a manager, as fans, we all have to believe that we can get that top four place, and I'm sure it will happen.
What do you think the plan is for next season then? So we get the top four. Can we strengthen well in the summer?
Win the league, mate.
Can we?
We have to spend big money. When you look at the likes of Liverpool, who are 22 points clear at the top, a couple of years ago, I believe that Tottenham and Liverpool were very, very equal in quality and in positions. And they went out with a shopping list and they identified every area that they need to improve. And that's exactly what Tottenham need to do. And I'm sure that with a world-class manager like Jose Mourinho, he's won trophies every single club he has been at. It has to happen. But Tottenham do need to spend big, and we do need to get some quality names in.
Couple of games in the Premier League that should be easy wins for Spurs. Southampton coming up, Villa coming up as well, RB Leipzig after that in the Champions League. But then it's that game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. That really is the game we're targeting as the moment that potentially our season and those Champions League hopes could hinge on, isn't it?
Well, I think today has been a huge turning point, and if we can get performances like the second half in these types of games, then yes, I think we will finish top four. And that Chelsea game is absolutely huge. Every Tottenham fan can't stand Chelsea, and we all love going to Stamford Bridge. And a win against Chelsea is absolutely amazing. And I'm really looking forward to that game. Really looking forward to it, because that weekend, it could be the weekend that Tottenham do go back in the top four.
Chris, that was a lot of fun.
Cheers,
Thank
Chris.
you very much. Chris Cowlin there, author, blogger and Spurs fan. Tottenham beating Manchester City 2-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We're just coming up to 7:45. This is Love Sport.